What is going down? What is going down? This is Studio MacGyver, and you are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. What a fucking week I have had, guys. Oh my goodness. Let me start off first by saying welcome to the podcast to all the new listeners. And I want to apologize to all of my listeners who have been listening to the show, whether it's been since I started, whether it's been, just last week. I guess what I'm trying to tell you guys is I had a major fuck up with the podcast. The podcast you're listening to right now is a redo podcast because we tried to do something new. I was going to bring you guys a guest. I had a guest, and he goes by the name of Bearded Buddha. He has a podcast by the name of Wonder Soul. He's been a guest on here before. I've been a guest on his podcast before. And we tried a new method out, and it did not turn out well. Some of the files got fucked up really bad, and I could not do that to you guys and put out, that podcast because it just wouldn't be right. If I had a podcast that I was listening to and, they decided to put out something shaky, something, subpar, I'd feel some type of way. I may understand the situation, but I'd still feel some type of way. And I just didn't want to do that to you guys. I love you guys too much for that. And, I try to put out, a decent product. I like to think that I do, but, it is what it is. And, to everybody out there who doesn't, know anything about what goes behind the scenes in podcasts and stuff like that, it's a lot that goes into it. And for those who are podcasters or have experience in recording, you know what I'm talking about. And it's just, it's the nature of the beast sometimes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And I guess I need to live by that motto. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm going to try to continue to live by that when it comes to, the tactics that I used before to put out content. And when I have guests on, moving forward in 2019. But I do want to send a special shout out to Bearded Buddha for, giving me his time, because he did not have to, do that. And it was an hour and 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes long discussion we had and about, the Dragon Ball movie, which I'm going to discuss today. But yeah, man, it broke my heart because it was a great conversation we had, and he put a lot into that podcast. But like I said, the show must go on. So I guess I'll be doing it solo this time, guys. But I guarantee you the next time I will not make the same mistake. Rest assured on that. But moving on, this podcast is definitely going to be a doozy. It's just going to be Dragon Ball. I'm not talking about anything else. It's just going to be all Dragon Ball content, mainly the movie. I'm going to discuss, how I felt about the movie, what I liked about the movie. Should you go see the movie if you haven't seen it yet? All of that stuff, man. And a little bit of news, some more Dragon Ball news in the world of Dragon Ball at the end of the show. So let's begin. If you have not seen this movie, let me start off by saying you're doing yourself a great disservice. Okay. Take $5, go hit up a matinee, or, make some time and go see this shit. It's definitely worth your while. I fucking loved the movie. Should you go see the movie? Of course you should. And I'd even argue to say that even if you're not really a big fan of Dragon Ball, I'd still recommend this movie for the simple fact that you could take your kids to this movie. You could take your family to this movie, and you can have some laughs and you can get some nice enjoyment out of this movie. Plenty of action, a lot of lore I felt that was in this movie. All the true Dragon Ball fans out there know what I'm talking about. Everybody who's seen this movie knows what I'm talking about. You even get to meet a couple of new characters who, one of them was one of my favorite characters out of this movie, and it wasn't BROLY. No disrespect to BROLY fans, no disrespect to BROLY. I thought he was excellent in this movie, but I thought Chile stole the show. It's a new character. She's introduced for the first time in this movie. She's got short hair. She's green. And I'll get into that But yeah, I really loved her. She was actually kind of cute. You know what I mean? She was actually pretty fucking thick, if you want to keep it real, out here in these Dragon Ball streets. Yeah, man. Excellent character. I'm looking forward to, what they plan to do with her, possibly going down the line. But anyway, back to the movie at hand. I saw the movie twice. I saw it on Wednesday when it first came out, and then I saw it again Sunday. I'm recording this podcast Sunday night, early Monday morning. So, yeah, I'm fresh off of the movie, and it was excellent, man. I mean, it's pretty much fan service for every Dragon Ball fan, out there. I'm assuming a lot of you guys have seen this movie, so this is not going to be a spoiler-free podcast, when I'm talking. So I hope that is okay with you guys. If not, then I guess you guys can skip the podcast and come back later after you've seen the movie. I hope you don't do that, but I guess it is what it is. I'll respect you in the morning if you did that. It's all good. Anyway, man, my takes on this movie were that we have a lot to look forward to. We have a lot to look forward to. The future looks mighty, mighty fucking bright for Dragon Ball in 2019 and beyond. And watching this movie, confirms that. So many things to like about this movie. BROLY, let's start with him, man. I mean, compared to the BROLY that we know before this movie, man, it is like night and day. Even down to the cosmetics, the changes and stuff that they had. Now, some might argue, that the other BROLY was better cosmetically. They thought it is what it is. I mean, but I really want to talk about the character BROLY. The character BROLY, to me, going forward, is something that anybody should be excited about, especially current BROLY fans, because now this guy has an actual backstory. He has some layers to him now, and he's got a ceiling that is so fucking high. I don't know what is going to happen in the future with him. He doesn't talk a lot. And when he does talk, he speaks, in short, broken sentences at times, not because he's dumb. It's just because he was raised not to really talk a lot. He was raised up hard, in this movie by his father. I guess you can assume that this is canon now. Yeah, man. I mean, he's got excellent potential for growth. First and foremost, let me just say that. And he actually is, sympathetic, man. He actually doesn't want to fight all the time. He's not, all about just fighting. You know what I mean? He would like to be left alone and to his own devices sometimes. And what I also love about this movie is the fact that Chile, the character that I spoke about earlier, Chile, however you want to pronounce it, they developed a kinship. And not just her, but there's another character named Lemo. He does the same thing. So basically, BROLY has his own nucleus now. Kind of like, how Goku has his friends and his nucleus. Kind of like how Frieza has his Frieza Force and his nucleus. Even Jiren has his nucleus now. Like most characters, in Dragon Ball, they have a decent nucleus. You know what I'm saying? They have a support team. They have somebody who gives a fuck, who cares about them. And I love to see that unfold in this movie with BROLY and his character, and how Chile and Lemo, cared about BROLY and tried to look out for him in his best interest in this movie. And even at the end of the movie, when Goku came back and they thought they had their guard up and they thought Goku was coming to try to start more shit, and they were down to protect BROLY, and they were very defensive, and rightfully so. I mean, I thought that was perfect. I loved it. And I also love the fact that Goku basically extended an invitation to become friends with BROLY and his friends. And that's basically what I mean by the future of Dragon Ball, because the future looks so fucking bright. You can tell that they're leaning towards BROLY becoming, a prominent character in the future, or at least they're leaving it wide open. They're leaving that for they're leaving that as a possibility. Same thing with Jiren at the end of Dragon Ball Super and the Tournament of Power, and even Frieza, the way that they, Gogeta and Frieza had words at the end or whatever. You know what I mean? He could have killed Frieza, but he didn't. The relationship is, I don't know, it's becoming sort of a patty cake type of, yeah, I tag you, you're it, nah, you're it type of relationship with Frieza and Goku and Vegeta almost. I don't know, just so many different dynamics that I caught watching this movie, and I was pleased with all of it. I was pretty much pleased with all of it, man. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, if you haven't seen it, man, I mean, you're not gonna understand until you go see it, man. But for those who have seen it, you guys know what I'm talking about. And that's why I was so upset with this, podcast being messed up, because, I had some, the perspectives of the movie, I wanted to hear different perspectives, other people who saw it, and, Bearded Buddha gave me some of his perspectives and opened my eyes to certain things that I necessarily wasn't checking for. So yeah, but to keep it plain and simple, guys, I mean, the movie is great. The movie is great. I'm just going to say that when it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD, guess what? I'll have it. I'll add it to the collection. And it's my favorite Dragon Ball movie to date. It's better than all of them, in my opinion, thus far. As far as the story, as far as the action, the most action in any Dragon Ball movie ever. What I also loved about this movie is the fact that Vegeta, one of my other favorite characters, got to shine his ass off in this movie. You also got to see his Super Saiyan Red transformation. The fight scenes were excellent. They were very long. I did not have anything to complain about on that aspect of it all. The only thing I really had to complain about, and this is something, that I'm biased towards because I'm also a Frieza fan, and Frieza is my favorite villain of all time, is the fact that, he got his ass whooped. He got his ass handled accordingly in this motherfucking movie. For an hour. He got his ass whooped for an hour. BROLY beat his ass for an hour. It was crazy. He deserves it. A lot of people were clapping in the movie theater when he was getting his ass beat. They were laughing, because a lot of people hate Frieza, and you should hate Frieza. You should hate him. If you don't hate him, then he's not a good character, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But I hate him and love him, and I love him because everybody hates him, and he deserves that crown of hate. You know what I mean? Because he's just so dirty and diabolical, man. You know what I mean? You can't fucking, you just, what else can I say about Frieza? We all know this about Frieza. But yeah, man, the fighting was excellent in this movie. I thought, that Bardock, was a little watered down as far as his intensity, as far as compared to his, his other version. Everybody knows, and a lot of Bardock fans will probably, feel that way. I've heard a couple of them talk about that part of the movie, that they took him off of, he was more modeled off of Dragon Ball Minus, a softer version of Bardock, but he's still, he's still a Saiyan in this movie. He wasn't like a pussy or anything like that. Don't get it twisted. But, he wasn't the Bardock that, when you think of Bardock, that vision and that attitude and that strength, were to pop up in your head. He didn't give off that type of vibe. But what was cool was the fact that his mother, Goku's mother, was in this movie. And, they honestly wanted to portray, that his parents did care about him and all of that. And I like the way that they went. I like the direction they took, with how they had to send him away, to another planet and, to save him and everything like that. I pretty much don't have any quarrels with this movie. It was beautifully animated. It was beautifully drawn. Like I said, the choreography and the fighting and all that was top gun. You know what I'm saying? It was A1 steak sauce. And then, being a Dragon Ball fan on top of that, it just makes it that much better. I think if I wasn't a fan of, Dragon Ball and I just went to go see this, I'd be entertained. I would be entertained. And matter of fact, I took my daughter, to go see this movie the second time. And she's not a Dragon Ball fan. She knows I love Dragon Ball. It was something to do with her dad, and she wanted to go. So we went. I took her with me, and she thoroughly enjoyed it. She told me that, it was way better than what she thought it was going to be. And to hear somebody who's not a fan, say that, and say that it was entertaining, speaks volumes. And also the fact that, this movie is in my theater where I'm living at. It's there every day. It's not going anywhere. It's not limited time. It's not limited showings. Now that's not true for everybody and everywhere, because not every, theater is showing it like that. But it goes to show you where Dragon Ball is going and where it's been, how far it's come to, eventually 5 years from now. I think we're on that cusp where we can go to a movie and we can see anime based movies, just like regular theatrical releases, side by side, if you will. I think we're headed in that direction now. I mean, Japan has been like that, but we're headed in that direction now. Anime is becoming that popular, and, it feels good to me. It feels good to, I'm sure it feels great to other fans of anime in general, period. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the movie was just, I don't even know what else to say, man, about it. I really don't. I really think that they have really got something on their hands right now as far as the future, where they're going to take it next. Like, where is it going next? Are they going to, when Dragon Ball Super returns, because it is going to return, and when it does, I'm wondering, where are they going with this? What direction are they going? We all know that there's other universes out here with enemies and villains who are supposedly way stronger than, everybody who fought in the Tournament of Power. And, so, where they're going with that, could take it anywhere. But I see Goku and the Z Fighters, getting in trouble, getting into some shit, and having to call upon, other acquaintances like Jiren, the Pride Troopers, like even Frieza again, like BROLY. You know what I'm saying? Because he even said that, he would love to, spar with BROLY. He would love to spar with Jiren. He would love to teach, BROLY some things, show him some stuff. And at the end, what gave me goosebumps at the very end is the fact that they asked who he was. They asked for his name. He told them it was Goku. And then he told BROLY that he could call him Kakarot. That gave me goosebumps, man. Because it's kind of like a thing, between Saiyans. And it just goes to show how far, not just Vegeta has come as a character in his relationship with Goku, but also where Goku has come regarding his relationship with Vegeta. Vegeta has always called him Kakarot because that is his Saiyan name. In Vegeta's eyes, that's who he is. Goku is finally starting to accept the fact that, yes, I do have pride as a Saiyan, and, I know my Saiyan roots now. You know what I mean? And he respects other Saiyans. I mean, there's a part in the movie where Vegeta was trying to kill BROLY, and Goku was trying to stop him from killing him. Because Goku sees him as another brother. He's a Saiyan. Even though Goku doesn't believe in killing, period, in general, for the most part, I think that was the lens Goku was looking at that through. And I just feel that BROLY is going to be a big part of the future of Dragon Ball, in my opinion. The way they set it up, the way it's looking, I think that's going to be real. I think a new Z team could be on the horizon, because these enemies now are so fucking wet. And if you don't know what that means, it means amazing and highly skilled. It is a word that I came up with, WETT, for shits and giggles, but I don't know what else to put it. Everybody out here now is just so fucking wet, so amazing, so highly skilled that you cannot put Tien Shinhan, you cannot put Krillin, you cannot put Piccolo in these situations anymore without them risking their lives. Literally, unless something happens, they write in some shit, they get some extra training. I don't know what it is. And that's kind of sad in a way too, because it's almost like saying goodbye to an era, saying goodbye to something of old, and like everybody says, oh, it's turning into the Goku and Vegeta show. I mean, they're aliens themselves in their own right. They're fucking aliens. They're like just God tier motherfuckers who don't stop getting stronger. And when you're dealing with other enemies like that, I mean, I guess that's the direction you have to go. Now, I hope they can incorporate the other team, the other fighters into, some situations, from time to time, give them some screen time, work them in, what are they doing now type of things. But as far as the future is concerned with the Z team, I mean, it looks like a potential new Z team here. You're looking at like Goku, you're looking at Vegeta, you're looking at maybe Jiren, you're looking at BROLY, you know what I mean? And even potentially Frieza in here. You know what I mean? And if shit gets really fucked up out here, you might even see Beerus jumping in, even though they're not really supposed to partake in anything that goes on, out here in these streets. I mean, Broly attacked Whis. Whis dodged all his shit, of course. Angels do not get involved and aren't supposed to get involved. So could we come to a point where, angels and God of Destructions are getting involved in certain situations and scenarios? It's a possibility, but I'm leaning more towards, the first assessment. I'm leaning more towards, Goku reaching out to other guys from other universes, the top people in their universes to do that. And then, I mean, the comic relief in this movie, I mean, Frieza killed it when he wanted to get the Dragon Balls because he wanted to fucking be taller. And everybody, both times I was in the theaters, like lost their shit when that part came up. He simply wanted to become taller, man. Like, that is crazy. So we know he's very, he's got an issue with his height. You know what I mean? So that's crazy to me. I thought that was so funny, man. I couldn't stop laughing at one point. But those little things like that, man, is what make this movie great, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And somebody asked me, the other day, like, why the fuck wouldn't he wish to get stronger? You know what I mean? And somebody in the movie made that reference as well. And the reason is simple. These motherfuckers are so strong right now that Shenron doesn't even have the power to make that happen because they're too strong already. It's not possible for him to make them any stronger. They've surpassed that limit that he could give them. You know what I mean? So, now if it was like Yamcha or somebody like that, of course he can make them stronger. But they can't do that with characters like Frieza, Vegeta, Goku, Jiren. Motherfuckers like that, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? They're just, that shit blew my mind in itself. So basically it's on them to get stronger if they want to get stronger and surpass that. Because they're all those guys I just named are pretty much on like God tier status almost, like, or at least flirting with it. So, it's crazy. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen in the future. I think also that Broly is going to get with Shillay. I see a love interest here, possibly developing between these two. And maybe a baby. Who knows, man? Who knows? They could take this so many different directions. All right. I mean, the sky's the fucking limit, guys. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on the movie. Hit me on Instagram, Studio MacGyver79, on Twitter at Studio MacGyver. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this. And I would love to actually talk with some of you guys about this, maybe have some discussions and throw it on YouTube or whatever, even maybe a future podcast, you know what I mean? And, I had a lot of friends who were trying to be on this show and we were trying to set something up where I actually had a panel of like 3 to 4 people, but man, the timing was just off. A lot of the guys hadn't had a chance to see it because, I understand people have work schedules and things that they have to do. And that's pretty much was the gist of it all. And sometimes things just don't line up. You know what I mean? Anytime you're dealing with other people other than yourself, those type of things happen. So it was just a bump in the road, and I had to get this podcast out. I had to do it because, I mean, I couldn't hold this in any longer. I had to talk about this movie. I had to spread the word. I had to spread the love about it and let everybody know how dope it is, man. And keep up the, Toriyama, keep going. Let's go. Where are we going next with Dragon Ball Super, man? Are we gonna, are they gonna skip the manga arc right now? I don't know. I mean, they could possibly do that, or could we rehash the current, manga right now and turn that into, the first episodes of Dragon Ball Super? Or could they do what they've been doing the past two movies, Resurrection of F and, Battle of Gods, and could they just start there? So could we start with, this movie, this BROLY movie, and basically break it up into, the actual Dragon Ball Super series, like the first season maybe, or at least part of it? Who knows, man? I mean, it's known that Toriyama, when he wrote this, it was going to be twice as long, 3 hours. So he had 3 hours worth of content. Maybe that's why we didn't see a lot of the other characters in there like we wanted to. Some of us wanted to, because, once you do that, you have to chop it down to a reasonable amount of time, which was about an hour and 35, 40 minutes was the length of the movie. So yeah, that could be part of it. So maybe he could take some of that stuff and like, look, let's push this over to, Super, and let's segue into it that way. Who knows, man? I have no clue. Nori Toriyama, who knows what's going to happen? He could switch it up and change the game. I don't know. I'm excited though. I'm so excited to be a Dragon Ball fan. You guys should be too. Also, I'm going to get into some other Dragon Ball stuff like I mentioned earlier. I'm going to talk about, what's to come, man, in 2019. Need to also add to you guys that it was my birthday this weekend on Saturday, and I want to give a special shout out to my girlfriend because, I don't give her enough credit for the shit that she does. And, I know she loves my dirty draws. I know she loves me. You know what I mean? And she's listening to this podcast. Well, she probably doesn't, because she really doesn't listen to my podcast. But just in case she happens to scroll past this podcast, I want to tell her I love her. And I also want to say, I want to tell her thank you for taking me to Anime Pop, which is basically like a GameStop, for anime fans. It's just like Anime Shop. And she hooked me up, man, for my birthday. You check out my Instagram and you can see what she got me. She got me, I didn't know what I was going to buy. I went in there, not knowing what the fuck. I had Naruto in my brain when I went in there, but then I came out with Dragon Ball. And I just couldn't resist. I couldn't resist what I got, because there was a Frieza piece in there that I got, and then there's a Jiren piece in there that I got. So, I mean, that Frieza piece is, man, it's awesome. It's a Van Presto. It's Frieza in his 100%, full form. Basically when he was, fighting Goku, and he's got his part of his tail missing, and he's enraged, infuriated. I didn't have 100% Frieza version yet. I have pretty much every other version of Frieza there is, for the most part, and I needed that piece. It just was calling my name, and she got it for me. So thank you, babe. But back to Dragon Ball. What can I take from this movie? I'm trying to think. What else can I take from this movie? I mean, I think I've said everything that needed to be said for the most part, because this is just my perspective. You know what I mean? If I had other guests, of course, the podcast would extend, because you get different perspectives on what they saw, what they thought was cool, what they thought wasn't, maybe, all of those things. All I can tell you guys is go see it if you haven't. Please. Just go see it if you have not, man, and you will not be disappointed. Everybody that I talked to, all my friends, everybody that saw, they were hyped. They were fucking hyped. Okay? And it was a beautiful experience. and I'll probably end up going to see it again. No lie. It's crazy, and it's doing really well. It's doing really well in the box office for an anime movie that's got limited screenings. You know what I mean? It even beat out in the first week. Well, it's not a complete week yet, but so far it beat out the movie, Bruce Willis movie. It beat out Glass. Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis. It beat them out. And I saw that movie this weekend too, and it was fucking excellent. I mean, that's a little side tangent. But yeah, it was dope. But yeah, man, I mean, it's doing real numbers, you know, for what it's capable of doing, for the limited run that it's having right now. And it just goes to show you how big anime has become and how big Dragon Ball's become. You know what I mean? Thanksgiving parade, you got fucking Goku floating in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, right? That's where we're headed, man. Finally starting to take over the world. But let's get into some more Dragon Ball shit, and the reason why I'm so excited for 2019 and beyond. And we're going to get into some games, okay? Dragon Ball Heroes. If you don't know about Dragon Ball Heroes is a game. It's a card game, actually, based out of Japan. I mean, it's been in Japan for years. They've been playing it. I've always wanted it to come to the West, and it finally is. We got that confirmation. And it's basically like a Pokemon. Think Pokemon with Dragon Ball characters. Okay. You got a card deck. Your opponent has a card deck. You know, and you put your deck against their deck, and whoever has the best fighters and knows how to use them the best is going to, you know, get that victory. And it's coming to the Switch. I'm not sure about, you know, other consoles, but I will be getting for the Switch. That one I can promise you, for sure. Depending on the online thing, we'll see how that works. But I think I'll probably end up getting it for the Switch. But anyway, that game is coming out. We got confirmation for that. But the other two are really huge to me, like so big to me. The next one I want to talk about is a game that, you know, I've talked about plenty, a game I love so much, Dragon Ball FighterZ. Yes, Season 2 has been confirmed. And I know you guys heard me talk about this. Some of you guys who've been listening to me, you know I love Jiren. Okay, you know I love Jiren. And guess who's the first character of Season 2? Yes, Jiren is in the building. The first character. Still don't know the second character yet, but I know the first, and that's all that matters right now. I still need to see Roshi at some point in this game, but I'm thinking I think he might make the cut, man, because right now it's looking like they're going after everybody in Super, in the tail end of Super. Okay. You know, you got Hit and you got everybody, all these other guys in there. I'm thinking it's going to be Topo and Jiren. I think Topo is going to be the other guy. That's what I'm thinking. A lot of people are saying Ultra Instinct Goku. Man, I hope that's not true. And I only say that because, man, we got so many fucking Gokus in this game already, man. It's just the slots. We need more slots, please. Let's not do this. Okay. Yeah, let's just not do that. Jiren, though, hey, I'm going to definitely be keeping you guys up to date on that. Cannot fucking wait. Hopefully we get him at the end of January or early February so I can get into that lab, because my Dragon Ball FighterZ skills right now are very, very, very weak. I definitely fell from grace. I have not played it. I got rusty, and I need to get back in the lab, and I will. Need to work on my skills. I played with some friends. Matter of fact, Bearded Buddha was in that group. It was like 7 or 8 of us, man, and we played for like 3 or 4 hours just fighting. And they let me know real quick, you know, I'm rusty. I need work. So I'm going to get back into the swing of things on that, and I'm going to make it right. I promise you guys, I am. New Jiren videos coming soon. I got to put together another team, another 3-piece squad. So can't wait. I cannot wait to see how they handle this Jiren situation. I hope they do him justice, and I think that they will, because they definitely dropped the fucking ball on this dude in Xenoverse 2. I mean, they basically it was an afterthought. They put no work into Jiren. I don't know if it was bad timing, but if it was bad timing, in my opinion, they should have just waited. And I would have respected him a lot more if they would have waited and done it right, as opposed to just throwing him out there like they did in Xenoverse 2. Ruined my fucking experience in Xenoverse 2. But fighters can make those wrongs right, and I hope that they will, and I think that they will. I think they will. So we'll see. But yeah, excited about season 2, guys. I'll definitely keep you guys posted on who else is going to join the fight, and I'm gonna leave that there. Last but not fucking least, though, there is going to be a Dragon Ball action RPG coming in 2019, and it is called, at least right now, Project Z. There's so many things there's so many things that pop in my mind when talking about this potential game right here. I've been waiting so long for a Dragon Ball RPG game. I mean, my head is going to explode. Seriously, the last game I played RPG wise, Dragon Ball based, was Attack of the Saiyans on the Nintendo DS, which is a classic in my opinion. Love that game forever and always. But we need some new blood. We need some new blood in the water. And I think this is going to be that game. Now, somebody asked me, how do you think they're going to do this? Because, there's flying involved. If there's flying and all this stuff, how do you think what format do you think they're going to use? Can you think of a game that would closely resemble a way they might make this? Because it's an RPG, but it's an action RPG. And it can't be like Xenoverse. It could technically be, but with some slight changes, maybe a lock-on system or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be that, man. I think more so it could lean towards Marvel Ultimate Alliance, something like that, where, you can have up to like a team of 4 in your party, and, and everybody can fly. So you can, I guess float and kind of fly around like that, or you can run, touch the ground and run around. I'm thinking it's going to be something like that. In that neighborhood. I could be wrong. That's just what I would, if I was a developer or something, that's probably, the direction I might go with that. And then, maybe if you have online play, you could have other people team up and join squads and play together. Or maybe they have it to where they start you from the beginning. It could start in Dragon Ball and work its way all the way up to Super. Who knows what they're going to do with this. And then as you beat characters and bosses, you can add them to your team and play as them. I mean, maybe different skins for different characters and different versions and all of these things. I mean, there's so many things they could do with this. My head exploded when I heard about this. I don't know. And of course, we're going to learn more as time progresses about this. But just the fact that a Dragon Ball RPG is coming is something that blew my mind. Just when I thought I couldn't be satisfied anymore. Because I thought, when Dragon Ball FighterZ was announced, I thought like, I could die now and be cool. And then, after watching Super, then you find out like, oh man, Jiren, all these guys. And now like, they keep adding more and more and more. And I'm loving it, all of it. So yeah, a RPG game. Oh my God. I can't fucking wait. I can't. What do you guys think? Do you have faith in this game? Do you think that it will do numbers? Where are my RPG, fans at? You know what I mean? Even if you're just not a fan of Dragon Ball, I think, a RPG fan could pick up this game and play it. You know what I mean? I really do. And I'm delighted. I'm delighted to hear this news, and I can't wait. I'll definitely be covering all this shit, guys, for you. I'm definitely going to keep you posted on the podcast and also on the YouTube channel, man, because also 2019 comes, resolutions, and I'm going to take the podcast to the next level. I'm going to take the YouTube channel to the next level. My Discord is coming soon, so you guys can join the Discord. We can get into conversations about certain things, look at videos, even be on the podcast, or even be in conversations where they will eventually be on the YouTube channel, discussion videos, things of that nature, man. I would love for you guys to join me sometime. Really would. I want to shout out to all of my listeners. I want to apologize about the debacle that took place with my sound file, on the original podcast. But, life must go on. And, I still gave you guys, I felt, a decent podcast talking about this movie and talking about, the future of Dragon Ball for the most part. And I hope that you all go see the movie. I hope that you guys enjoy the movie as much as I did. And I love you guys and thank you for listening. And I will see you next week, guys. I mean, that's about all I have to say. I mean, thanks for listening. This is Studio MacGyver, and you have been listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time. Dragon Ball is all I do, all I want to see when I'm at home. I watch some Dragon Ball. Will you watch some Dragon Ball with me tonight? If you don't like Dragon Ball, you can kick rocks, 'cause I don't need you in my life, girl. If you don't like Dragon Ball, no. I love Dragon Ball so much, it makes me feel so good inside. I'ma hit this freestyle tonight on that Dragon Ball. To all of my Dragon Ball fans, I love you so much. We all have that thing in common. So when we watch Dragon Ball, we all love some Dragon Ball.